right, moving on to example 4 here with more exponents to exponents. So this one differs from that first example because notice here, all of these pieces were inside the parentheses being applied to that cubed on the on the outside. What's the orange juice? Excuse me. Whereas over here, you can see we have other things going on. We have two sets of parentheses with different exponents on the outside, but then we also have this little fancy 4 here that's kind of hanging out there all by himself. Let's talk about that 4 to start with. Looking at that 4, does that 4 have an exponent of anything? It actually does. Remember, when there's no exponent there, it is a 1. But does that 4 get the 3? Is that being raised to the cubed or to the third power like the other pieces are, or to the -2 like those other pieces are? And the answer to that is no, because there's no parentheses on it. So this 4, I'm just going to kind of hang out, and he's just going to keep carrying down until I maybe have something I can do with them. Now, my second set of parentheses, and again, remember, you could expand this out. You could write 3 of those x squared times y times z and see what that looks like. Or you can use that little trick. So x squared raised to the third power would be x squared times x squared times x squared. 2 times 3 is 6. Y has an exponent of 1, so that's going to turn into y to the third. Excuse the bell. It's the end of third period right now. My z is also going to get that exponent of 3 because it also has an exponent of 1. And at this point, I'm allowed to drop my parentheses because I know all of this is multiplication. And I've also dealt with that cubed on the outside there. I looked at that and I gave that to all of those pieces inside, so I don't need that anymore. So now for this guy. We have x, y, and z in parentheses to the -2nd. So right now that x, that y, and that z, they all have an exponent of 1. And they need to be raised to the -2. So they're all going to change to have an exponent of -2, since 1 times -2 is -2. So now from here, we can you could go in either direction. Like we did in this one, you could change the negative exponents automatically first and then do some simplifying. Or we can start by simplifying what we have and then dealing with the negative exponents. So we have 4x to the 6th. Oops, hold on. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. Oops. I didn't mean to do that either. Y to the 3rd. There we go. So looking again for those pieces that have the same bases. So I've got an x to the 6th and an x to the -2. Those are being multiplied here, so I'm adding those. Yeah, let's do it this way. That's fine. So 6 plus a -2 is x to the 4th. And that makes sense because that -2, those would go to the bottom, and then they would cancel out with 2 of my x's on the top, leaving me with 4 of them up there. Then I have my y's. I have y cubed and y to the -2. 3 plus -2 is a +1. Yep, and z cubed times z to the -2. And I'm just going to expand that real quick. So z cubed times z to the -2 would look like z cubed over z squared, right? Because I'm moving that negative exponent to the bottom. Expand that out. 2 of them cancel. I'm left with that 1z on the top. You can always expand things out, especially if you're scared you might make a mistake or get those rules confused, because let's be honest, who likes to memorize things? So there's our final answer. There's the beginning of 4th period for you. And we'll take a look at one more example to finish this lesson off.